You are listening to the teachings of Sadhu Om. Self-enquiry is the only way to happiness. From what has been said, it follows that I am is happiness. Now then, how are we to obtain that happiness? Further, how to enjoy it permanently? Where thought sees happiness begins supreme, such is the truth about happiness. Although the thought-free state is gained and happiness is experienced for a while, such a thought-free state obtained by contact with external objects does not last long. Therefore, it is clear that one can never achieve the thought-free happy state permanently with the help of the five senses. Have we not already seen that deep sleep is a happy state? So is this deep sleep after all the goal of mankind? It cannot be, because it is also a short-lived and its happiness is interrupted by the waking state that follows. No one can go on sleep forever. One's accumulated tendencies in the form of thoughts will rouse one from the sleep. The mind, in association with the body, works without stop all day long. At the end of such a hard day's work, it needs rest simply to be able to start afresh and work again. That is why mind, which is a collective name for thought, subsides of its own accord in the deep sleep. The mind, which now takes rest temporarily, cannot but enthusiastically jump out again into activity. If on his way home a man is caught in the downpour and takes shelter under the portico of some house, it does not mean that he will remain there permanently. When the shower is over, he will surely move on. Similarly, the mind gets a little rest, it sleeps. The state of activity in which it comes out again may be called either waking or a dream. Thus, no one can remain in sleep forever, and so even sleep is the only temporary happiness. This state, which is called sleep and which is in the state between two viritis, that is, two thoughts or two active states of mind, has still another defect. During the sleep, the mind subsides in darkness and does not know its original light, whereas it should be made to merge without losing hold of its consciousness. Therefore, sleep is not the state of perfect happiness free from defects. Then what is the way to experience such happiness? Let us turn to the words of Sri Bhagavan. There are two kinds of absorption of mind. If the absorption is temporary, it is called manolaya, that is, mental quiescence. If the mind is absorbed in laya, it will rise up again in due course. The second kind of absorption is manonasa, that is, destruction of mind. In this kind of absorption, the mind dies and under no circumstances will it revive. Since it is dead, it can no longer give rise to misery. Therefore, happiness obtained through the second kind of absorption, the destruction of the mind, is eternal. It is the supreme bliss. In the waking state, when we enjoy agreeable experiences through the five senses, there is quiescence of the mind for an extremely short period of time. In sleep, the period of the mind's quiescence is a little longer. In death also, the mind is likewise quiescent only. All these are only the quiescence of mind and not the destruction of the mind. It is not enough if misery is temporarily absorbed. It must also be destroyed. This is the goal of mankind. Temporary quiescence of the mind is temporary quiescence of misery, and permanent destruction of the mind is permanent destruction of the misery. That is, the mind itself is mystery. Hence, let us find out what is to be done to destroy the mind. What is mind? Sri Bhagavan says, the mind is only thoughts. If we give up all thoughts and observe what is mind, we will find that there is no such thing as mind at all. If one inquires in the form of mind, it will be found that there is no such thing as mind. This is the direct path for all. For destroying the mind, it is enough if thoughts are destroyed. Let us therefore find out what thoughts actually are. This scrutiny is not an ideal way of passing time. Is not the entire world struggling for happiness? Even this scrutiny is undertaken in view of obtaining that same happiness. Then what is the difference between the efforts of humanity in general and these efforts undertaken by spiritual aspirants? The efforts of worldly people lead only to the fleeting happiness, whereas the effort of the aspirant, self-inquiry, paves the path to perfect, eternal and unlimited happiness. Therefore, this research is far more important and worthy than all kinds of human endeavor. One must be very vigilant and put forth one's very best efforts. Only then will the results of one's inquiry, the supreme gain of life, be obtained here and now. This is the truth well proved by Bhagavan Sri Ramana's own experience. Did we not begin with a proposal to scrutinize thoughts? For what reason? The aim is to destroy all thoughts and thereby to enjoy perfect happiness. Millions of thoughts rise in us, out of which we must search for and discover the first and the root thought. When we do so, we will find that the first person thought, I am this body, which rises as soon as one wakes up from the sleep, is the first thought. This I-thought is the root of all thoughts. Of the three persons, the first person, second person and the third person, the first person is the first to rise. If the first person does not rise, the second and third person will not come into existence. The first person is nothing but the thought I, and this alone is mind. The second and third person will rise only after the rising of the first person, I. The world is nothing but second and third persons. In sleep, the first person feeling I am the body does not exist. That is why the world does not exist. If the I-thought, the root of all thoughts, is prevented from rising, all other thoughts will also be prevented. If a man wants to cut down the millions of leaves and hundreds of branches of the tree, is it not enough if he cuts down the trunk? Similarly, a man who is trying to destroy all the millions and millions of thoughts will have succeeded in doing so if he destroys the I-thought thereof. Did we not start the objective of scrutinizing thoughts? From what we have seen above, it is now clear that it is not necessary to scrutinize each and every thought, and that a scrutiny of only the I-thought, the root of all thoughts, is quite sufficient. Some may ask, will not happiness be obtained through the destruction of thoughts? If so, why should any thought be scrutinized? They may even quote Bhagavan Sri Ramana, who once said, it is useless to scrutinize the garbage, all of which is to be thrown away in one stroke. Such an ill-fitting question would be due to improper understanding of Sri Bhagavan's teaching. Let us see how. What Sri Bhagavan said is, it is futile to scrutinize the various properties of all the principles, which are self. No matter how much we scrutinize thoughts pertaining to second and third persons, they will never subside but will only increase. He has never said that scrutiny of the first person should be given up. The first person thought I has its peculiar property. If attention is focused on it, In order to discover what it is, this I thought will subside. But on the contrary, the more we attend to thoughts pertaining to the second and third persons, the more they will increase. In a cinema theater, the further the screen is moved from the projector, the bigger the picture comes. The closer the screen is moved towards the projector, the source of light, the smaller the picture becomes, even to the size of mere dot. Similarly, the more attention of the mind is directed towards the second and third persons, the more the world pictures are multiplied. But if the attention is turned towards self, the source of mind's light, the mind itself will subside. We shall see into this more deeper in later. The technique of self-inquiry. Just as all the beads of a rosary fall down when the thread is cut, so also if we who want to destroy all thoughts scrutinize the first person thought I, which runs through and sustains all the second and third person thoughts like the thread through the beads, all of them will be effortlessly destroyed. Thus, the method of destroying the I thought is also the method which will destroy all other thoughts. Therefore, what is essential to destroy the first person thought I? The only way to destroy it is to scrutinize its nature. There is no other way. Even in the path of self-surrender, which is the path of devotion, the destruction of the first person, the thought I, is achieved by surrendering it to God, having come to know the worthlessness of its nature. Thus, all that is necessary is to inquire into the first person I thought alone.